Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to reveal our final team for round 1 of the 2024 NRL Fantasy season. So I didn't feature the fantasy team in the video yesterday looking at the team lists, and I was originally going to do this on Thursday, but I had a bit of an epiphany today that I want to try to avoid any last minute panic trades and changes. So I want to set and forget it. I thought I'll knock it out of the way nice and early, give everyone a bit of time to have a look, tell me how to fix my team, and probably won't listen to them, but that's fine. And, we'll get set and ready for the upcoming season. So I guess the best way to do this is probably just go through the team on the field and then on the bench. And so I guess just because he's sitting right there, we are going to lock in Nicho Hynes. So, it's a lot of money to spend in round 1, particularly given we've also got Cleary. But, I guess these guys are the two best in the game. That's why they're priced accordingly. If Nicho Hynes is a late out, we might, have to come up with something. But, I think if he's playing, we absolutely want to have him in the team. So, we're sort of happy to cut a couple of corners elsewhere to get Hynes in. But at hooker, we've got Harry Grant. So I guess, you just look at the drop-off from Grant, and admittedly Cook is up there, but, straight away it drops off by like 100k in value. And that's probably relative to their scoring output. So, I think Harry Grant is going to be a mainstay in a lot of teams. So, it's always nice just to have him locked away and we don't need to think about it. We do have Brandon Smith as a bit of cover, so we're not going to have a hooker cover on the bench. And particularly all of the sort of cheaper hooker options are not very interesting. So, that's why we brought Brandon Smith in a bit early and locked him in, was we do have that backup hooker for when Grant has a bye in round 4. But yeah, other than that, we're not really too interested in hookers for the time being. In the middle, we are going to add a couple of players in. None of these top end of town guys. We've got Cam Murray as sort of our one locked in keeper. Tupanua as that potential sort of mid-range double or dual position rather option. Still going a fair way down the... Oh, we've gone too far actually. Because we are going to include Reuben Cotter in the team. So particularly when the Cowboys named their bench with Fini Fuiaki on the bench instead of Thomas McKaylee type. And I guess given previous seasons where Cotter generally has played big minutes at the start of the year, and then once Origin hits and he sort of, the last couple of years, he's played 80 minutes every game for Queensland, that does take a toll on him with his game style and obviously, playing in that intensity that is Origin. So what we're banking on is he'll make a little bit of money earlier in the season. Also, the Cowboys have that great run where they don't have a bye until after their first Origin. But obviously Cotter will play Origin, you'd imagine. So, well, hopefully he'll make a bit of cash then and we can, move him to an option to cover through Origin. Also going to include Josh Curran. So going pretty big in the middle. He's popped onto the edge there. That's fine. We'll leave him there for the time being. So I think, I talked about this in the Supercoach video, but I think that, Curran is probably going to get quite a lot of minutes. It might not seem like it at the start of the year, but he sort of had that virus and, a little bit of an interrupted preseason. But I guess just once they get up and running, I can see him moving into the starting spot, playing prop forward, and playing a lot of time in the middle. So I think, yeah, I'm happy to have Curran. He might not make a lot of money straight away, but looking across the board, I don't see a lot of money being made straight away. And then I think the other middle option that we're going to run with, who's only just become a middle option, we keep going, is Jamin Salmon. So obviously starting at 13 looks sort of tailor-made for that role, given he is defensively pretty solid and understands Seraldo's system from his time at Penrith. Has the ball playing chops, being a former sort of 5'8" and centre type option. So I guess maybe in a way a bit like a younger version of Isaiah Yeo. Started wider, moved his way into the middle. I'm not suggesting he's playing 80 minutes like Isaiah Yeo, but at 289, even if he's playing 50 minutes, I think that's still enough time to make us a lot of money. So we've got our edges full, but I guess we're going to take advantage of the NRL Fantasy um, pricing in that, it updates fairly regularly. We're going to include both Cleese Haas and Joe Chan in our teams. So some people might sort of say, well, job security is not great. Cleese Haas is a placeholder for Fafita. Joe Chan, he's got Sean Bloor, Kane Bradley nipping at his heels. Okay, but I guess this week they're going to play. They're going to play 80 minutes based on the benches that have been named, or very good chance of playing close to 80. So for that reason, I think even Haas at 415k can make a bit of money. Obviously, Chan will make more quicker, but I think we can definitely include both of them. So with the halves, obviously we've got Cleary and Hines, but I think change the positions. But I think the two sort of clear backup options. Not that we need two backups, but we've got Hutchinson at 400, Flanagan at 349. So obviously, I think the job security is there for both of them. Some people might say, "Oh, Sexton's in the extended bench," but I think it's Hutchinson's spot to lose. He's solid defensively. He will have a bit of a kicking game. Obviously Burton will probably split that with him, so it's definitely not all him. Similar to Flanagan, he'll take some of the kicking off Hunt, but he'll still be, I guess, the second banana in the team. But I think that'll be okay, given that he's cheap and part of his price is based on playing off the bench. If he's on for 80 minutes, he'll make some money. So then in the centres, so this is where we're going super tight and playing Ben Trbojevic and Ethan Strange and no cover. So obviously they both have nice favourable roles. The prices are super cheap, so they are going to make some money for us. And Trbojevic doesn't have a buy till round 13. Ethan Strange doesn't have a buy until round 10. So it gives us a few weeks to try and work out, which of these more expensive type options we can first of all afford and second of all want to get in our team. And then the wing fullbacks. So I feel like I've forgotten someone, but I'll work it out. So scroll down. So yeah, sort of skipping the top end of town here. So we're going to go with Pappenhausen. Can't find him. It's because he's cheaper than this. Tuapiki and Kinney. So, Pappenhausen obviously is a gun of the past at less than 500k. It seems like a no-brainer. Tuapiki obviously is not going to be in the job forever, but we're hoping he can make us a bit of quick cash. And then we can obviously upgrade him to hopefully one of the more keeper type options. And Kinney is obviously, again, only in the job for a few weeks, but at 279k, there should be some value built into that price. Hopefully enough that we can just flip him to Jaden Campbell once Campbell's back. But if not, hopefully it's not too big of a jump. On the bench, we're going to go with Bostock as the backup option. So obviously, the Titans have the bye in round 2, the Storm in round 4. So we do have to carry a wing fullback on our bench. And I think Bostock is going to be, the best option for that. And then the final player who I sort of skipped over in our middle discussion, but I guess once I worked out how much money was left, it was going to reveal itself. Sam Hughes. So, I guess similar sort of story to Josh Curran. Obviously, a lot of people are saying, well, if they're going to both play big minutes and both play in the middle for the Dogs, that you go Hughes at 250k cheaper. And, that's fair. But I think, like I said, I think Curran is going to still present some value. And I guess if he doesn't, we do always have the option of switching. If I go back to sort of all positions, we've got 40k, but even if we look in that 4 to 600k range, so we could probably start close to 550, and we'll work it from there. Can't find it. Oh, there you go. AJ Brimson, essentially, sort of range. But if we scroll down, you've got the likes of Jack Whiten could, feature in the centres once he returns. Phoenix Crossland we've talked about as a bit of a sort of fringe option at hooker. Morgan Smithies, if he sort of proves a hit at 13, we could bring him in. Kai Pearce-Paul, he may dip a bit. Once he gets that starting spot on the edge, we can swap them. Sean Bloor, once he's good to go, could come in. There's plenty of options at this price. Tom Flegler, if the minutes are there, not hopeful of that. Probably the big one that I was thinking of, Hylam Lukey as an option. But Terrell May, that could happen as soon as next week. I don't think May's price is going to explode up past 530. It may. I'm not an expert at the fantasy pricing. But, there is options. So I think, this is the team that I'm going to go with. Obviously, captain, vice captain's already locked in. It's more just a question of working through the reserves. So I haven't got a loophole option anymore. I'm just a bit scared about Safe Path's job security. So I've binned him from the squad. But obviously I think, Cotter, Salmon locked in. I think this is pretty close to it, to be honest. Like, I think maybe, Hutchinson or Flanagan could sort of slide up and around Haas and Chan. Maybe Hughes would be up there, but, I don't think we're getting that deep in the bench week 1. So, just trying to calculate. I think, it's sort of hard to say. Maybe the halves have a slight advantage over the edges. I know I might sort of split the vote like that. And so we'll run with something like that. I guess, when do they all play? I don't think it really matters that much. Curran can stay. Yeah, so something like that for week 1. And we'll see how it goes. Obviously not off to a great start. But I guess the only way is up. So with this squad as well, I guess just to analyse it as a whole, we've got cover in most positions. Obviously, if one of the centres goes down, we're in a bit of strife. So that is a gamble. But I guess, the fact we've got $2 million sitting in our halves, obviously it's not ideal to trade out and trade in like a Hines or a Cleary. Um, but I guess if it's something we have to do, then it's something we have to do. And there might be a little bit too much cash sitting on this bench, but I guess we don't. The value probably isn't there in those other positions or those cheaper options. All right, but I think we'll wrap it up there. Like I said, if you wanted to give your thoughts or comment on the team, questions about your team, always welcome them in the comment section below. If you enjoy the NRL fantasy content, remember to give the video a like. Subscribe for all of the fantasy content we got on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.